Well, check it out, guys. Go ahead and making our trip to Rockingham Raceway. So, trip I'm doing is from Florida to Jacksonville, North Carolina, from Pensacola, Florida, and it's about 700 something miles. And pretty much the plan is to go there, do some shenanigans, then come back. I'm also dropping off my car because I need to drop it off for a while, and yeah, basically free up the trailer, do one more trip out of here because I'm moving. So I went ahead and checked everything. On the way over here, we're at the weigh station right now. I'm going to show you what the weights are in a minute. But on the way over here, I noticed that the transmission was, I had set the TV cable kind of loose, and I felt like it was slipping the converter too much, like it wouldn't quite lock up when I needed to just really get some power out of it. So I tightened up that cable a little bit. Hopefully it'll help and also keep trans temperature down a little bit because it's not slipping as much. Other than that, I was trying to think what else we got going on. Yeah, I mean, I topped off the oil. This is after the rear main seal, by the way. So I topped off the oil to the very top of the safe mark. So I'm going to go about 100 miles. That's the plan, 150 miles. Stop, check what the oil level is, because I don't know what the oil loss level is right now. Without the rear main seal, before I did that, it was pretty bad. So I want to make sure, kind of step myself up before I go full send and just assume everything's going to be fine. Because that's what got me with the Avalanche and Blue Motor. All right, so this is the empty weight. We're at 9,900 pounds. That's with basically almost an empty tank of fuel. The trailer was 3,100 pounds. So yeah, that's it, empty. And then over here we have the full weight. So 14,400 pounds is everything, truck and trailer. The trailer itself, 6,380 pounds. And then there's a little bit more weight because wheels and tires in there. So I'll math out, throw it on screen exactly what we're hauling in addition to, well, basically what the trailer weight is, what the truck's actually hauling. So it shouldn't be too much to stress this truck, but this is my first time towing with it. It's got 225,000 miles on it now, and we'll see what happens. Not first time towing ever, but just first time towing this long of a distance with it. So it's kind of a good maiden voyage, I guess, after all the work we've put into this thing over the past couple of months. So I'm pretty excited about it. We'll see what happens. I'm also going to be monitoring gas mileage. We'll find out what our towing highway mileage is. That trailer I have back there is a freaking sail because it is a square front face, no V or anything helpful like that. So whatever this gas mileage is probably the worst it's ever going to get. I am curious though. So I topped off the tank here, and then once we stop for fuel again, we'll go ahead and calculate it out. This is going to be mostly highway miles. It's going to take a little bit of city to get back to the highway, and then we'll be good. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get rolling, and I'm going to do pretty much periodic updates like I did with the Avalanche towing videos and kind of see what happens. So pretty excited. Hopefully it's pretty boring video, because boring video for me means nothing went wrong, and exciting video for you means that I had some problems. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully everything's good, but monitoring trans and everything else. For those who are not familiar, this is basically what the cockpit looks like. So have our little scan gauge 2 down there. Got a touchscreen radio installed for maps and music. Little mic for some Bluetooth action, and then, yeah, pretty basic. Redid most of the interior of this thing, so in pretty good shape. The biggest last thing we did was when we got tint in here, because I really didn't want to burn up on the way there. So pretty happy with that. But see you guys in the next clip. Alrighty, boys. She started. Got everything ready. Got 7 hours, 11 hours. Allegedly, it's going to be longer than that, and 769 miles. So see how everything does. Should be a fun time. All right, so I just got to the first stop, about 100 miles in, and as you can see, there's actually no drips on the ground. So I think we got this leak. I mean, it's definitely still damp down there with a little bit of oil, but on the bright side, I just checked the dipstick a little while ago, and when I was at the last truck stop, we filled it up very top of the safe line. We're maybe 1/8 of an inch below the safe line now. Not like the top of where it says safe, there's about an inch line just space there. So the top being there and the bottom of the safe mark being there is about maybe 1/8 of an inch lower than it was before. So went 100 miles, lost hardly any oil. I'm gonna call that a win. So I was definitely getting pretty nervous. I went about it, it's actually the longest consistent straight drive I've done so far in this truck, especially while towing anything, and I'm definitely pretty happy with it. So I think that's gonna do it. In all honesty, I'm gonna go ahead and pop in a little more oil, and actually, honestly, I'm probably not. We'll just go the rest of the tank and see how much it winds up dropping over the course of the entire time. So next stop probably be about 100 miles from now, maybe a little longer. I don't know, we'll see. Kind of depends on bathroom breaks and stuff right now. Other than that, though, the truck's doing pretty good. I do kind of wish I had a little more power in it, I'm not going to lie. I'm not towing that heavy of a load that you guys saw, and it does struggle a little bit up the hills. I will say, tightening up that transmission cable, I may have gone a little bit too far, but as far as getting up and moving, it helps tremendously. It locks up the converter a lot sooner, and kind of helps keep it in gear. So maybe that's why it was adjusted as tight as it was before. So as far as towing is concerned, I think it's beneficial to have a little bit tighter, daily driving a little bit looser. So I don't know. I'm going to try loosening up just a hair because I think it went just a little bit too extreme on the tightening, and see if we can find a nice balance zone on this trip of where I kind of can leave it and a daily drive's nice and a tow's nice. So that's the plan. But without further ado, we're going to continue on this trip. Well, back on the road again. As you can see, that's my buddy's truck by there, 2021 Ram 3500, literally 20 years newer than this, which is kind of cool to see the comparisons. I do want to do a fuel comparison when we get to the end of this, just to see if the 2021 gets better fuel economy or if it's just a power thing or what. But he's also towing a lot more weight than I am. Probably, I think his trailer's up there, 24 foot, and then it does have a V-nose, which is kind of nice, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get on out of here. But oh boy. I basically just want to take you guys along for the acceleration out of here to see, or kind of show you what it feels like. Hopefully, if I can mimic that. But definitely confidence inspiring that we made it this far without any crazy issues, so that's nice. Trailer's towing well. Truck's towing pretty well. Trailer brake's working just fine. Our trans temp has been averaging probably about 130. Which I'm pretty good with, in all honesty. So yeah, it's been averaging about 130 on the highway, and once it locks in gear and it kind of just settles down, it stays lower. But in terms of actually driving around on like stop and go traffic, goes getting about 180. It's just real rough because you're constantly trying to pull a bit, you know, trying to get up to speed, slipping the converter a bunch, then you're trying to get back down to speed right when it starts cooling off, and a repeating issue. So a little bit of a downhill, but it's not sweating it too much. Turbo's loud as fuck though. Turbo's real loud though. So I will say, as far as towing and overdrive, I've heard people say don't do it, some other people don't care. On average, so I'll turn overdrive off if I want to get it to start towing, going up a hill or something, and I really need the extra pound just to keep above 50 to 60. It does drop off in speed a little bit, but once we get rolling though, it's not too bad. Look at this damn truck out of here though, it's kind of annoying. Yeah, I'm just averaging around, like, I don't know, probably about 15 to 20 pounds of boost on most of this trip. So yeah, there she goes. So maybe around, like, you know, 10, 12 pounds, just cruising flat. Once we get up some hills, it'll jump right up. But truck's been feeling pretty good, so I'm pretty happy about it. Without further ado, that's going to kind of take over this little segment, and then we'll meet you up with you at the next stop for the next update. Alrighty guys, so just another little update. Currently just kind of hanging out, but just got done doing our next stop. It's currently 6:47, so it's going to be starting to get dark here pretty soon. But we stopped at about 236 miles, so I didn't add any oil at the last stop, at the 100-mile stop. Still have over half a tank, although range says 200 miles to empty, so probably going to stop at like 150 miles just to make sure I don't go too low. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to see where the oil level was, and it looks to have dropped maybe a hair more than where it was. There's definitely some oil coating the bottom side. Again, I can see some on the transmission cross member, a little bit on the that same bell housing area. And then while I was stopped there for maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, there was one dime size drop that came off. So it is still leaking, but very slowly, not a huge deal. And then yeah, after that we'll go ahead and kind of continue onwards. My plan is basically to hopefully be able to not have to add anything in between fuel stops, which so far that looks to be very plausible. If we can add, you know, maybe a quarter of a quart or half a quart or something like that. That seems like a reasonable loss for having an oil pan gasket leak. So that pretty much will give me confidence in towing long term with this thing and make sure there's no real issues. That's kind of where I'm at with this thing. So pretty happy with it so far. Like I was saying, turbo's very loud. It's not a quiet ride in here. I might look into some sound dampening down the road a little bit, but so far so good. I do want to find out fuel economy. We will figure that out once I go ahead and get out of here and get on to, once I do my first fill up, go ahead and calculate the, so once I do my first fill up, we'll go ahead and calculate where we're at. Should be good to go. There it goes. Yeehaw, brother. Well, pulling in for our first fuel stop here. Trying to hit up good old Love's truck stop. Figure that'll do the trick. But looking like 368 miles, and we got a little over 1/8 of a tank left, between the 1/8 and the quarter. So I figured I might as well not push our luck. We got a good truck stop here. We'll go ahead and knock this out. So time to go figure out what we get for fuel economy and check our oil level once again. Well, while we're fueling up, figure might as well check our oil level real quick and see where we're at. Let's see what's up. Yeah, I figured. They also had some food here. I thought so. Yeah. Good enough. You're at.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye out.
Yeah, we're getting toward the bottom end of the safe mark. Looks like we're leaking a little more.
It is leaking now?
I think so. I'm gonna go ahead and top this whole thing off the quart and see where that sends us. So we put in exactly 30 gallons. Went out 369 miles, so 12.3 is what we are currently averaging. So without further ado, I'm gonna go double check fuel, run inside, and then we'll continue on the trip. Alrighty guys, obviously it's dark out now, but just kind of wanted to give you a quick update. So it looks like went ahead and went through about 3/4 a quart of oil. And looking at it again, it's definitely the oil pan gasket and I think the timing cover gasket. So not the front main seal cover that I replaced, but the actual timing, I don't know what you call it, timing cover, I guess, the bracket, timing, whatever the thing, it sits behind the timing cover and all the gears. I think I also got to probably replace that thing. It looks like it'd be leaking a little bit as well. So that's literally the last two gaskets on the truck. However, only going through basically a little less than a quart of oil and 1 tank of fuel, while hanging out around between 10 to 20 pounds of boost the whole time, going up hills, high load situations. I think it's pretty manageable for a 20-year-old truck, in all honesty. So now that I know I can go full tank of fuel without having to add oil, or basically just adding it at stops if I stop before then, I think it'll be good to go. I was real paranoid about losing oil earlier because of the whole issue with the rear main, front main, and other stuff leaking like crazy. But it looks to have slowed down quite a bit, like I was saying earlier. So that's about it. Honestly, this thing sounds pretty good. Well, from the outside anyway. My buddy's in front of me right now. It's that trailer up there. Saying that whenever I hit boost like this going up hills, the term he uses, it sounds like I'm getting it. So I guess with a straight pipe 4-inch, it's kind of what you get. Pretty loud diesel in all honesty, but pretty happy with it. So go ahead and talk to you guys later, probably on the next fuel stop. Alrighty, hopefully our last stop at about half a tank, but I figured it'd top off before we get there. So gotta check oil level one more time, but we're honestly not doing too bad. Since I added that little bit, haven't had to add any more. Gone about 286 miles, and so far so good, but I don't even know if I can get diesel here. This thing looks weird. Well, I'm probably just dumb, but they got a weird looking diesel pump that I'm pretty sure you got to pay inside, and the station's closed. So like I was saying, I don't necessarily need it right now. Still at like drinking 288, half a tank. We're definitely getting better gas mileage than we were last time around. A little bit better anyway, but yeah, it's one of those weird pumps over there, and they don't have any easy way to dispense it, so it is what it is. But other than that, doing pretty good. No issues. Oil levels dropped a hair more on the stick, but it's still well within the safe zone. So I don't know, it's kind of inconsistent a little bit, so it is what it is. But glad we checked, stopped, and a little more what is the word, so glad we checked, stopped, a little more confidence boost before we head and knock out the last 123 miles. But it's definitely been a trip. I forgot how long this drive is. Done it, been over a year since I've done it, so yeah. Anyway guys, let's go ahead and keep on going. Keep on trucking. Okay, so it didn't do that much better. 290 divided by 23. How many gallons we put in, so 12.6. Thought we were doing a little bit better just because this thing up here, if anyone knows how to fix that thing, it says 32 degrees. It's definitely not right. But this was saying we were averaging 13.7. So I'm not really sure how this thing averages stuff out, but obviously that's not the case. But yeah, so 433 to empty, 290 miles to go. 290 miles where we're at. And let's see what we got. $120 miles to go, so good stuff. Well guys, made it to our destination for now. We're gonna go ahead and I'm pretty much working on the car right now. Kind of getting that pulley belt squeak issue figured out when I was talking about last time I was at the track. Turns out it was a clearance issue with the pulley, so getting that figured out. But truck went ahead and made it just fine, no real issues. Pretty happy with it, in all honesty. It did well. But that's gonna conclude this video, so thanks for watching guys. And next video will be at the track and we'll see what we can do with the car. So, like I was saying, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.